Dear children, today we are going to discuss the coordination compounds or complexes. Myself Dr. DIGNA VARGHESE. Coordination compound. Do you know what is a coordination compound? This figure shows a representation of a coordination compound. We know coordination compound has two parts. One is a central metal atom or ion. Another one is the ligands. Ligands are ions or molecules which are attached to the central metal ion. This attachment is by using a bond known as coordinate bond or a dative bond. It is a special type of covalent bond, but in this case the ligand is donated electrons to the central metal ion. Whereas in covalent bond, both atoms, say A and B here, forming a covalent bond, A gives one electron and B gives one electron, and these electrons are simply shared between these two atoms and forming a covalent bond. But a coordinate bond, the difference from the covalent bond is here the ligand donates electrons for sharing with the metal atom. So, coordination compound is a compound in which the metal atom is surrounded by a group of atoms or ions is known as ligands. A coordination complex consists of a central metal atom or ion which is usually a metallic and is called the coordination center. Here a cobalt complex is shown here, and here the central metallic part is cobalt, that is known as the coordination center, and a surrounding array of bound molecules or ions which in turn known as ligands that we know. Ligands are also known as complexing agents. Here the ligands are ammonia ligands. Ammonia molecules attached to the central cobalt atom. Here the ammonia molecules which donate 2 electrons to the central metal atom of cobalt. Each ammonia molecule donates or sharing between the metal atom and the ligand is 2 and forming a coordinate bond that is represented here as this, and the nitrogen atom is shown by the blue balls and the hydrogen atom is shown here as white balls, and the central metal atom is cobalt is shown a grey ball. And so this is a complex or a coordination compound. The term coordination compound to mean a met neutral complex or an ionic compound in which at least one of the ions is a complex. When we dissolved in this compound or a coordination compound in a solvent, water or anything, any solvents, it will dissociate into two parts if it contains a ionic part. If it dissociates to give a complex part, that is CO NH3 6. 3 plus. Okay, this is the complex ionic part. It's a cationic complex, and then 3 Cl minus ions. When we dissolved in a solvent this particular complex, it will breaks like this or dissociates like this and forming a complex ion. The term coordination compound to mean a neutral complex or an ionic compound in which at least one of the ions is a complex. So this is a complex part. So this is a coordination compound. Coordination compounds are Lewis adducts because the central metal atom acts as a Lewis acid and is an electron acceptor, while the ligands are electron pair donors and act as Lewis bases. Here we can see a manganese complex, and here the central metal atom is manganese and the ligand is water and sulfate. Here the coordinating ligand is water molecules and the sulfate is a lattice ligand in order to neutralize the complex charge. Complex charge is plus 2. Here the ligand acts as a Lewis base, that is water acts as a Lewis base in which the oxygen atom donates its lone pair of electrons to the central metal atom of manganese. Here coordination number. The number of ligand units bound the metal ion is called the coordination number or ligancy to the metal. We can see from this table here the complex cobalt complex. Here the 6 ammonia neutral molecules attached to the cobalt ion and forming a complex, and here the coordination number of or ligancy of the metal atom is 6, and the second complex is K2COCl4. In this, cobalt is attached to the 4 chloride ions and forming coordination compound, and in this particular compound coordination number of the cobalt is 4, and the other one is silver complex, cyano complex, and coordination number of silver is 2. So the number of ligands attached to the central metal ion is called its coordination number or ligancy to the metal. Why coordination compounds are called complex molecules? We always say coordination compounds are complex molecules because they are appeared to defy usual rules of valence. That's why coordination compounds are called complex molecules. Organometallic compounds. Organometallic compounds are complexes having direct metal carbon bonds. We know Grignard reagent is an example of organometallic compound. Here the direct metal carbon bond is here. Metal carbonyls are special category of organometallic compounds. Here we can say the complex nickel tetracarbonyl. Here the metal atom is nickel and carbonyl ligands, that is CO, attached to the nickel atom here, and it is a special type of organometallic compounds. Even though carbon monoxide is an inorganic compound, but here considered as a special category of organometallic compound. Do you know these contains a coordination compound? What is it? It is these food items contain a vitamin B12, that is cyanocobalamin. So here we can see the central metal atom or metal ion is cobalt. It is attached to the cyanide or nitrile ligand. So it is a coordination compound. Hemoglobin is a coordination compound in which the central metal atom is iron and it is in the +2 oxidation state, and the 4 nitrogen atom from the porphyrin ligand, and the 5th nitrogen atom coming from the histidine unit, and here is a vacancy. In this, oxygen is attached, and myoglobin is also containing a complex of iron. Another important naturally occurring complex is chlorophyll. Every plant contains chlorophyll as a coordination compound in which the photosynthesis occurs. Chlorophyll, the central metal atom is magnesium, and here also the porphyrin ligand units, but the substituents are different. Here the tetrapyrrole system, that is porphyrin ring system, coordinated to the central metal magnesium via ring nitrogens, that is these 4 ring nitrogens, and a long lipid soluble hydrocarbon tail. Dye. We know dye is a chemical compound which imparts color to the material. The fabric which otherwise have weak attraction for a dye are made to be dyed with the same dye using a mordant. A mordant is a metal ion. Here alizarin is a mordant dye which cannot be applied directly to the fabric. So by the use of a mordant, that is a metal ion, here aluminum is act as the metal ion which is attached to the fabric and in one hand and the dye on the other hand through coordinate linkages in which both the dye and the fabric acts as ligands. Here it is shown as the fabric and it is the alizarin dye, with both are coordinated to the central metal ion, say aluminum here, and is by this coordination compound we can apply alizarin's color to the fabric. Not only aluminum can act as the mordant, some other metal ions can be used as mordant. That is, if barium is used, blue color obtains to the fabric. If aluminum is used, rose red or turkey red to the fabric. If magnesium used as the metal ion, it forms a violet color to the fabric, and strontium act as a mordant, then it gives the fabric a red violet color. Pigments. Pigment is any of a group of compounds that are intensely colored and are used to color other materials. Copper phthalocyanins provide a brilliant, strong blues and greens that are unusually color fast for organic colors. Here a phthalocyanin acts as a pigment. It's a copper phthalocyanin. Catalyst. Some of the catalysts are coordination compounds. For example, a Wilkinson catalyst, which is used in hydrogenation reaction, that is, alkene is converted to alkanes. In this case, a rhodium based catalyst is used for this particular reaction, and it is RHCl PPH3 thrice. And hydroformylation reaction. In this reaction, the alkene is converted to aldehyde. For this, the catalyst is CO2CO8. Another reaction is Walker process, that is oxidation of alkenes. Here the catalyst used is palladium tetrachloride. And another one important catalytic reaction is polymerization of alkenes. which uses Ziegler-Natta catalyst, that is a combination of titanium tetrachloride and triethyl aluminum. And Monsanto acetic acid process, it is, as the name indicates, it is the synthesis of acetic acid, and it used the rhodium based catalyst, that is RHCO2I2 minus. And another important reaction is Cataiva process. By this also acetic acid is synthesized, and here the compound is used as a catalyst is iridium based catalyst, IrCO2I2 minus. Cytochrome complex. The cytochrome complex, or Cyt C, is a small hemoprotein found loosely associated with the inner membrane of mitochondria. The iron metal center of cytochrome C represents an octahedral geometry due to the coordination of 6 ligands around the central iron ion. Here only shows a 4 coordination sites, other are here and here. Cytochrome C is an important component of the electron transport chain for the synthesis of ATP. Cytochrome C is a water-soluble electron transport protein that is loosely associated with the mitochondrial inner membrane. In the electron transport chain, cytochrome C transfers one electron at a time. Iron-sulfur clusters. The simplest polymetallic system, the Fe2S2 cluster, is constituted by 2 ions bridged by 2 sulfide ions and is coordinated by 4 cysteine ligands in Fe2S2 ferridoxins, or by 2 cysteines and 2 histidines in some other proteins. They are composed of high-spin iron 3 or iron 2 with sulfur ligands in a mainly tetrahedral environment. Thank you for your attention.